Most parents never think of helping their adult kids as a retirement risk. But after decades of working with retirees, I can tell you the bank of mom and dad is one of the quietest threats to a retirement plan I've ever seen. Not because parents don't love their kids, because they love them so much that the math never even enters the room. In this video, I want to show you how to help your kids without wrecking your own retirement and where the line between helping and hurting actually sits. Because most families don't see it until it's too late. Hi, I'm Dan Shevlin, president of 2020 Financial. Let's get into it. Stick with me for a few minutes here because the numbers on this are bigger than almost every parent expects. By the end, you'll have something practical you can actually use. Research from AARP shows many parents continue providing significant financial support to their adult children with higher income households, often giving considerably more than average, already more than most people would guess. But here's the part that surprises me. A 2025 study of the Alliance for Lifetime Income, Limmer's consumer education arm, found that more than half of people helping adult children, parents, or other relatives said it was cutting into their own retirement savings. So the researchers followed up and asked, okay, if you had to choose, what would you give up instead of reducing that support? 58% said they'd lower their own standard of living first. 54% said they'd go back to work. Some said they'd even put off their own medical care before reducing the financial support that they were providing to family. Sit with that for a second. Parents will sacrifice their own comfort, their own health, before they'll pull back support to their loved ones. Honestly, I get it. But here's what most of them don't realize until years later. Even modest financial support, given consistently over 10 or 20 years, can meaningfully reduce retirement assets. It's not really the check you write this year that hurts you, it's what that money would have grown into if it had stayed invested. $7,000 a year sounds manageable in the moment. $7,000 a year for 15 years, plus everything it would have earned along the way, is a very different number. And that's the line I keep coming back to with clients. You can't fund your child's 30-year-old self at the expense of your own 85-year-old self. That's not harsh, it's just math. And if you're finding this helpful, I've also put together a free retirement guide that expands on many of the ideas we're talking about today. You can download it using the link in the description because what comes next is the question most parents never actually stop to ask themselves. Are you helping? Are you enabling? Most parents giving money to their adult kids genuinely believe they're doing the right thing, and often they are. But sometimes what feels like help is quietly working against the very thing they're trying to accomplish. I think about it this way: help after a layoff, a healthcare scare, or to get through school as a bridge is temporary, it's targeted, and it moves someone towards independence. Covering a lifestyle your child couldn't otherwise sustain on their own income is a different thing entirely. That's a bailout. And bailouts don't build independence, they postpone it. If your kid never has to tell a friend that they can't afford to go out this weekend, if they never sit with a budget that's actually theirs to manage, they don't get the chance to figure out what they're capable of. That discomfort isn't failure, it's usually how people actually learn. And repeated rescuing, even when it comes from a good place, tends to create something nobody intended. It can chip away at financial independence, create resentment on both sides, and make it harder for your child to build confidence managing money independently. The hardest thing I tell parents is that what their adult child often needs most isn't another check. It's someone who believes they can figure it out. So, how do you actually put this into practice? Here's the framework I walk clients through, and you can start on the first piece today. First, know what you can actually afford before a single dollar moves. Know what feels right emotionally, but what the numbers actually support. Run a projection that factors in your current level of support and see what it does to your retirement over the next 10, 15, 20 years. Most people have never done this, and most are surprised when they finally do. If what you're giving shows up as a real gap in your plan, that's something you need to know before you write the next check. If it barely moves the needle, then give with confidence, but know that going in. Second, define the terms before any money changes hands. Most family money conflicts don't actually start with money, they start with assumptions nobody said out loud. Is this a gift or a loan? How long is it meant to last? What is it actually for? Having that conversation directly, treating your adult child like the adult they are, heads off a lot of the hurt feelings that show up later when expectations don't line up. Ask them what kind of help would genuinely make the biggest difference. You might be surprised by the answer. Third, put your help where it builds something rather than where it just makes life more comfortable. That's a real difference between helping with a down payment, matching an emergency fund, or covering a tuition versus quietly picking up someone's car insurance and restaurant tabs indefinitely. One builds a foundation, the other creates an expectation. If your own resources are limited, aim them at the kind of help that outlasts the help itself. And fourth, the one most families skip, build an exit from the start. Support should be temporary on purpose, not by accident. Set an end date, give your child enough runway to prepare for it, and taper it down gradually rather than cutting it off cold. If the idea of saying no feels genuinely impossible right now, if pulling back triggers real anxiety, pay attention to that feeling. It might mean the line between helping and enabling has already been crossed. And the sooner you recognize that, the better it is for everyone involved. If you're watching this feeling some guilt, whether because you've given more than you probably should have, or because you've already pulled back and you're not sure it was the right call, you're in good company. This is one of the more emotionally loaded financial decisions I watch retirees work through. And there's no clean, universal answer. But here's what I've come to believe about years of sitting with families in exactly this spot. Parents who try to protect their own retirement aren't being selfish. They're making sure they don't end up financially dependent on those same kids 10 or 20 years down the road. Taking care of your own retirement is still taking care of your kids. It's just on a longer timeline. So here's where I'll leave it. Helping your adult children isn't the problem. Helping them without knowing what it actually costs and without any plan for when it ends is where retirement quietly goes off track. Know what you can afford. Set the terms up front. Put your help where it builds something real and build an exit. That's the difference between being the parent who helped their kids and preserved their own retirement and the parent who did one at the expense of the other. If you want to actually work through what your current level of support means for your retirement, the right number, the right structure, the right timeline, I'd be glad to help you think it through. There's a link in the description to book a call with me, and we'll run through the real numbers together so you can keep helping your kids with confidence and know your own retirement is still on track. Thanks for watching. I'll see you here in the next one.